Welcome into Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin here on the Catholic Family Podcast. These two will debate real-life issues from a Catholic perspective every Monday at 9 Eastern. Topics that come up around the dinner table will be given the truth treatment with no punches held and no falsehood left standing. Sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Matt and Kevin.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin here on the Catholic Family Podcast. I hope you're having a great start to your Monday morning. As Kevin always says when we start these shows, we're airing on a Monday but recording on a Sunday, so I figured I'd get that line in there. He doesn't seem to forget that. He doesn't seem to remind you all every single solitary week that we are not live. So I have to continue his tradition of doing that for you this week. I cannot believe we are already mid-June. As I think I said on the last podcast, I remember on the last show last week, I remember talking about Lent approaching. I remember talking about Ash Wednesday being just a week or so away, thinking about Lenten practices, and now here we are in the middle of the sixth month of the year. Time is absolutely flying, but hey, we are in the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and I have been really encouraged in seeing so many posts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever other social media site you may use, encouraging devotion to the Sacred Heart. I've even seen some signs out in public, which is really great to see. We did a show last week on public support for gay marriage and other things surrounding homosexuality being on the decline. So it's really great to see that there seems to be somewhat, even if it's minor, of a shift in our culture to align with the will of God and his divine laws of marriage, family, and the like. So I wanted to welcome you into the show today. Kevin is not with us, but I am riding solo, which means I can talk about absolutely anything that I'd like to talk. Well, not absolutely anything, but he doesn't screen me. So if I were to make fun of him, he wouldn't probably even notice, but I won't. I won't do that today. I wanted to talk about something that I absolutely love. I am actually fascinated. We did a little bit of the psychology of sports last week. There's a psychology of food that I think goes greatly unnoticed and unspoken of amongst just our population in general. If you think about it, everybody has to eat. Food is such a unifying figure. It's a great topic to talk about. It's a great topic to discuss. And in a way, it's ecumenical, right? You can bring all sorts of people together from whatever background you might want to mention and have a good time with them at dinner over a good plate of food. Everybody loves to eat. And, I thought that, well, since I am a big fan of all sorts of foods and most specifically Italian food, why don't I do a show today on a review that I recently saw of the top 10 cuisines in the world today. I wanted to start off with that a little bit, and if we had time, maybe talk a little bit about the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which again is dedicated to him in this month of June. But I wanted to really discuss with you this new research. Now, I don't know how they came up with all of these numbers or where they came from precisely, but the article really they sent out a whole bunch of people to all various parts of the world, and they rated various cuisines from different countries, and they came back with all of their data, and with that they named the top 10 greatest cuisines in the entire world. So I'll start off with number 10. We'll go down the list here, and I'm also curious your thoughts in the comments, so please share and comment as you listen to the program, and I'll try to weigh in more. I'm not really good at commenting back on posts, but I'll try to do that to engage a little bit more with our listeners. So number 10 here. It's really interesting because when I read this list, I thought, well, there's not really one food group that is specific to this country. We're going to go with the United States at number 10. And unlike other countries in the world that you can probably think of, the food in America seems to come as a blend or a mixture or be influenced by other cultures, right? So the list here says United States, number 10. Many of the popular foods in the United States originated in some other cuisine. Just like I said, the pizza slice is Italian, fries are mostly Belgian or Dutch. Hamburgers or Frankfurters, hot dogs, they're likely German, but in the kitchens of the United States, they have been improved and added to, becoming global icons for food lovers anywhere. Don't neglect the homegrown American dishes either. There's traditional foods such as clam chowder. I did not know that was an American original. Key lime pie, which I have never had, and the Cobb salad. I am a huge fan of clam chowder. I make there's various types of chowder: New England, Manhattan, and Rhode Island. I usually make the New England clam chowder, and it's really, really simple. All you really do is you saute a bunch of vegetables in a pan. In a very separate pan, you make a roux with butter and heavy cream. And after you get that roux to sort of melt a little bit, you pour in all the vegetables that you just sauteed into that saucepan. You season it as you'd like, and you pour in a bunch of milk or the heavy cream with the butter, and you really just let that cook. You season it, and then you add your clams, and you have a delicious, delicious bowl of New England clam chowder. But back to the article here, it says yum. These are the foods that those who visited and rated liked. So they said the cheeseburger was great here in America. The chocolate chip cookie. The world would be a little less habitable without this American classic invented in the 1930s or so. Now, what did the reviewers not like? Too much overly processed food, such as Twinkies, Hostess cakes, and KFC. I remember Twinkies. I don't know if I've had a Twinkie in a long time, but as a kid, I used to always get a little Twinkie in that saran wrap sort of plastic thing with your lunch. So that was a good memory here. All right, we're going to leave the United States and head south to the border, where Mexico comes in at number 9 as the 9th greatest cuisine in the world. So it says here, if you were allowed to eat only the food of one country for the rest of your life, it would be smart to make it Mexican food. This cuisine has a little bit of everything. You will never get bored. Among enchiladas, tacos, and quesadillas, you'll find the zestiness of their salads and the richness of an Indian curry, the heat of Thai food, in the use of your hands, snackiness, and tapas. It's also a central station for nutritional superfoods: avocados, tomatoes, lime, garlic with beans and chocolate and chilies to boot. It is rich with good, healthy things. It doesn't taste healthy, though. It takes like a fiesta in your mouth. When you're a kid, isn't that the biggest complaint that you always have? That the food that tastes so good isn't healthy, right? You don't eat the spinach instead of the cake. Well, what sort of kid wants to do that? I don't know. There are those kids out there who do prefer weird, healthy things like carrots and celery to cupcakes and ice cream, but whatever. All right, so what did well in Mexico? I guess this mole, it's called mole. It's an ancient sauce made of chili peppers, spices, chocolate. Oh, interesting. Like a chocolate chili. Tacos al pastor, which is a split pork. Wow, I can't read again today here. The split roast pork taco and a blend of the pre and post Columbian. And tamales, an ancient Mayan food of Maya cooking in a leaf wrapping. What people didn't like was the tostitas, basically the same thing as a taco or burrito, but served in a crispy fried tortilla that breaks into pieces as soon as you bite into it. This was kind of impossible to eat. All right, so we have number 10, United States, number 9, Mexico. Number 8 came in as Thailand. So street eats are a Thai attraction. Flip through a Thai cookbook and you'll be hard pressed to find an ingredient that doesn't run a page long. Oh, I hope this is not going to be some really, really long names that I'll never be able to pronounce. But anyway, they enjoy their spicy, sour, salty, and sweet and chewy food that all slips into one dish. What we liked: Tom Yang Kum, which is a rave party for the mouth, the reviewer said. It was a mixture of lemongrass, galanga, freshness of kaifir lime leaves, and the heat of chilies. They also liked some curry and some papaya there, which was sweet, spicy, and salty. All right, number 7, coming in at the 7th greatest cuisine in the entire world, Greece. Traveling and eating in Greece feels like a glossy magazine spread come to life, but without the photoshopping. Like the blue seas and the white buildings, the Kalamata olives, feta cheese, the colorful salads, and the roastful meats are all postcard perfect by default. You wonder why things look so good that I actually saw an advertisement where they showed how food is actually, well, advertised. And a lot of the things you look at, like those McDonald's fries or that Subway sandwich or that Burger King burger, they're not the real food. They're oftentimes a sort of clay or sort of plastic or a mold that is painted or aesthetically recreated to look really appealing. You know how those tomatoes in those images or those commercials have those water droplets that look like they're just floating on top of that crisp, rich, juicy tomato? Those are all fake. But here, and I guess in Greece, the food looks as good as you would see it on a magazine cover. So what people liked. Apparently the olive oil in Greece was supreme. It drizzled on any other food or soaked by bread. It almost varied like wine in its flavors. They also liked this food here called, I'm going to try to pronounce this, spanakopita, which is like spinach and feta cheese mixed with a flaky pastry cover, and gyros. Late night eating wouldn't be the same without the pita bread sandwich of roast meat and tzatziki, maybe Tzatziki, tzatziki, something like that. I have not had any of these, by the way, so, if you are planning on traveling to one of these countries, you're going to have to let me know what the end result here is. All right, jumping to number 6, India. When cuisine uses spices in such abundance that the meat and vegetables seem like an afterthought, you know you are dealing with cooks dedicated to flavor. In Indian cuisine, there are no rules for spice usage as long as it results in something delicious. The same spice can add zest to savory, to sweet dishes, or it could be something eaten on its own. For instance, fennel seed is enjoyed as a breath-freshening digestive aid at the end of meals. And any country that manages to make vegetarian food taste consistently great certainly deserves some kind of Nobel Prize. The regional varieties are fast. There is Goya seafood, the wasakan of Kashmir, and the coconut richness of Kerala. So again, here the reviewers liked their lentils. They liked this dish called dosa, which is sort of like a pancake, they call it, that's filled with cheese, spicy vegetables, which is good for lunch or dinner. And they didn't seem to really like the Balti chicken, an invention for the British palate. It probably should have died out with colonialism. All right, number 5. Now, this is a country here that has interested me for a very long time. Not just in its food, but in its architecture, its way of life, its sereneness, if that's the word. Japan coming in at number 5. So the Japanese apply the same precision to their food as they do with their engineering. This is the place that spawned tyrannical sushi masters and ramen bullies who make their staff and customers tremble with a glare. With Japanese food, you get a lavish multi-course meal that presents the seasons in a spread of visual and culinary poetry, or grab a seat at a revolting sushi conveyor for a solo feast, or pick up something random and previously unknown in your gastronomic lexicon. I guess that's a really fancy way of saying the stomach. From the refrigerated shelves of a convenience store, it is impossible to eat badly in Japan. What we liked: miso soup, showcases of some of the fundamental flavors of Japanese food, simple and wholesome. Sushi, and something called tempura. I believe it is Japan that has that bird's nest soup. I think it's called something like that, where apparently it is the wooden gatherings of a nest from birds, and it is very expensive, hundreds of dollars for a bowl. And I don't know if I would eat that, but apparently it is a delicacy in Japan. If anyone of you have ever tried bird's nest soup, I would love to hear your feedback on that. So that rounds out our top 5 of greatest cuisines in the world. Number 10, United States. Number 9, Mexico. Number 8, Thailand. Number 7, Greece. Number 6, India. And number 5, Japan. We will rattle off the top 5 as soon as we come back after a quick break. Stay with us. All right, everybody, welcome back into Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin here on the Catholic Family Podcast. Today is Monday, June 17th, 2024, and we are rattling off the top 10 cuisines across the entire world, tasted, tested, and proven to be a delight for your taste buds. We went through the top 5 in the earlier portion of the show, and now we will finish off with 4, 3, 2, and 1. A quick little refresher. We had number 10, the United States, Mexico coming in at number 9, number 8, Thailand, number 7, Greece, number 6, India, number 5, Japan. Can you guess number 4 on our list? It is the home of one of my favorite monarchs, Queen Isabel. So number 4 is Spain. Let's eat and drink and then sleep and then work for 2 hours and then eat and drink again. Viva España. That country has food, a food culture that we all secretly wish was our own. Between constant eating, 9 p.m. dinners, the endless challenges of food delight, this culture is based on, around, and sometimes even inside food. Spanish cuisine is made with the same unbridled passion you will find in the flamenco dance. The people munch on snacks throughout the day with intervals of big meals, from the fruits of the Mediterranean Sea to saffron and cumin and other Spanish foods. This is a timeless yet avant-garde. So the people who visited loved their ham. They loved the churros. And they didn't really have any food that they weren't fond of. The only thing that they came up with here was a dish called gazpacho, Gazpacho. They say it's refreshing and all, but it's basically a liquid salad. I might have to Google it and see what that looks like. Gazpacho, Gazpacho. So that didn't do too well in Spain, but the rest seemed to be a delight. Number 3 on our list of the greatest cuisines in all of the world, the place where you can get the finest baguettes known to man. The eldest daughter of the church, France. If you're one of those people who doesn't like to eat because there's more than life to food, then you might as well visit France. They all believe in the importance of good food. 2-hour lunch breaks for 3-course meals are common in the Parisian lifestyle. Entire 2-week vacations are centered on exploring combinations of wines and cheeses around the country. Down-to-earth cooking will surprise those who thought of the French as the world's food snobs. It is the birthplace of the Michelin Guide. After all, I don't know what that means, but I will read it anyway. Wonderful French food such as casserole, I'm going to butcher these, pot au feu, and steak fries are relative when we have the right bistros. So escargot, I've never had that, and I don't know if I ever want to have that, but we credit the French for turning slimy garden-dwelling pests into a delicacy. Macaroons, those little pastries are great, and baguettes. The food we don't like in France, foie gras, Foiegras. It tastes like 10,000 ducks roasted in butter and then reduced to a velvet pudding, but some animal advocates decry the cruelty of force-feeding fowl to fatten their livers. Well, all right, I don't plan on ever trying that. Anyway, we are down to number 2 on the list. So 4 was Spain, 3 was France. Number 2 on the list, I would have never considered this country to be even on the list. It didn't even cross my mind, so I'm a little bit shocked that it comes in at number 2, but China comes in at the second most popular or second greatest type of cuisine in the world today. These people who greet each other with "Have you eaten yet?" are arguably the most food-obsessed people in the world. I might beg to differ, but food has been a form of escapism for the Chinese throughout its tumultuous history. The Chinese entrepreneurial spirit and appreciation for the finer points of frugality result in one of the bravest tribes of eaters in the world. But the Chinese don't just cook and sell anything. They also make it taste great. China is the place to go to get a food shock at least a dozen times a day. You can eat that will be the food traveler's daily refrain. China's regional cuisines are so varied, it's really hard to believe they're from the same nation. It's not a food culture you can easily summarize, except to say that you'll invariably want seconds. So some favorites among the reviewers were sweet and sour pork, dim sum, I'm not sure what that is, and it doesn't say what it is, roast suckling pig, and Peking duck, and I can't even try to pronounce this one, Xiaolongbao, Xiaolongbao. It's incredible soup-filled surprises. How do they get that dumpling skin to hold all of that hot broth? And the dumbest food going around in China today, shark's fin soup. Again, probably something that I would not eat. All right, we are ready for number one. And I'm not biased at all. I didn't do this on purpose. It just so happened to be, not to my surprise, a country that I know very well. So let's review one final time the 10 best cuisines in the world. Number 10, United States. Number 9, Mexico. Number 8, Thailand. Number 7, Greece. Number 6, India. Number 5, Japan. Number 4, Spain. Number 3, France. Number 2, China. And of course, coming in at number 1, the greatest cuisine in the entire world, my beautiful Italia. Italy, number 1. Italian food has captivated the taste buds around the world for centuries with its zesty tomato sauces. Those clever things do what they want with wheat flour and desserts that are basically vehicles for cream. It is just so simple. Get some noodles, olive oil, garlic, maybe a tomato or some bacon, and bam, you can have an entire party on your entire plate. And it's also easy to cook and easy to eat. From cheesy risottos to the crisp fried meats, Italian cuisine is a compendium of crowd-pleasing comfort food. Many people have welcomed it into their homes, especially novice cooks. I take offense to that. Therein lies the real genius. Italian food has become every man's food. What we loved in Italy. Ragu alla bolognese, which is like spaghetti bolognese. This is the world's go-to when you can't decide what to have food. Pizza, mind-bogglingly simple and yet such a satisfying dish. It's a staple diet of bachelors and college students. Italian-style salami. Second, as a joke here, second only to cigarettes as a source of addiction. Coffee, cappuccino for breakfast, forget it. We want that day and night. The one food that they didn't like here in Italy was called buffalo mozzarella, and I don't know if I've ever heard of that. Those balls of spongy, off-white, subtly flavored cheeses of water buffalo milk. The flavor is so subtle, you kind of have to imagine it. So buffalo mozzarella, strange. I might have to, next time I order some pizza, I might have to see if they can make it with buffalo mozzarella. Mozzarella, as the Americans would say. Well, anyway, what do you like about the top 10 list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any foods that you would like to maybe add to the list or add to the countries that are mentioned? Italian food is, a lot of people like it. I know here in New England it is very popular. Most restaurants and shops here do serve some sort of Italian food. So I've been surrounded by that most of my life as it is. So of course I have that little bias. But what are your thoughts again on this list? Are there any foods that you might like to cook, that you do cook, that is maybe a staple in your family? We can kind of bring up that Thanksgiving whole debate again. I am not impressed by Thanksgiving at all. Turkey, potatoes, string beans, I just don't care. So what dish is good to you? Is there a staple in your family? If you're having a big party, maybe somebody special is visiting, maybe just the whole family is together, do you have a go-to dish that you turn to? And my family, my grandmother used to always, I found out actually that a lot of the things we ate were peasant food. It was basically what people who were very poor in Italy would kind of blend together and make and turn it into a really good dish. So one of the things that my grandmother would present to us on Fridays, which of course culturally were meatless, tied into the Catholicity of the Italian culture, but my grandmother would do spaghetti with tomatoes, and she would put in large chunks of broccoli and garlic throughout the dish. Another dish she would make was called pasta piselli, or her words, macaroni and peas. You take little ditalini pasta and you put in some tomatoes, you add some water to make like a broth, and you season it up. Then you add just little green peas in the dish, and you have a nice little soup. And these are all, I found out later in life, these are all for peasants because they just didn't have much to work with or to cook with, but they made the best of it. Garlic and oil and tomatoes, onions, fixes everything. doesn't it? Well, I hope this was fun for you to listen to. I enjoyed it. I love food, so this was really great to read through. I hope you have a wonderful week. Again, make sure you say that rosary every single day. Always keep Our Lady's name on your lips. And I will see you all next week. God bless.